never had a real fight against any of the Hashiras, so I'm personally really excited to see how this list turns out. Can he defeat the likes of Giyu, Sanemi, and eventually the strongest Hashira, Gyome? Well, let's find that out together. Although he had almost no strength in this form, that doesn't mean he is completely helpless. He was capable of restraining Demon Nezuko in a bid to prevent her from eating him. He was also capable of performing a sneak attack against Giyu, the third strongest Demon Slayer in the entire Demon Slayer Corps, a feat that made Giyu extremely surprised. This feat prompted Giyu to see potential in Tanjiro, thus sending him to train as a Demon Slayer. While Tanjiro was not utterly useless in his human form, he still has no chance against Shinobu. She is a Hashira, and that says a lot. She would win this battle with her eyes closed. Tanjiro is quite a capable fighter with his water-breathing techniques. The water breathing grants him enough power to kill demons such as Kyogai, a former member of the 12 Kizuki. However, despite all this, his water breathing is not strong enough to defeat a real member of the 12 Kizuki, not even a lower rank. In his battle against Rui, his water-breathing techniques were utterly useless, and he had to rely on other abilities to survive. On the other hand, the Hashiras are far more powerful than all the demons in the lower moon ranks. Although Tanjiro gained a significant increase in power after mastering water breathing, he'll still, without a doubt, lose a battle against Shinobu. Remember Tanjiro's battle against Daki? That battle showed us how strong Tanjiro really is with his Hinokami Kagura techniques. He managed to hold his own against the Upper Moon, and even seemed like he was winning. So how would this form fare in an all-out battle against Shinobu, the Insect Pillar? The Hinokami Kagura Tanjiro is very close to the Upper Moon level in terms of strength, and the Upper Moons are not easy opponents, even for the Hashiras. Although this form of Tanjiro is possibly stronger than Daki, it's definitely not as strong as Gyutaro. This was evidenced when Tanjiro couldn't behead a paralyzed and weakened Gyutaro, even while using Hinokami Kagura. To be honest, Shinobu would also probably lose a battle against Gyutaro, but despite this, she'd still beat Tanjiro because of her years of combat experience. So far in this video, Tanjiro seems pretty weak. Does he really have what it takes to defeat some of the strongest Hashira on this list? Let's see. Tanjiro, with his Demon Slayer mark, is nothing short of a beast in terms of power and strength. Reviewing his battle against Gyutaro would be a logical way of justifying his win against Shinobu. With his Demon Slayer mark, he was capable of decapitating Gyutaro, the extremely strong Upper Moon 6 demon who even overpowered Tengen, a Hashira that is stronger than Shinobu. It's also important to remember that Tanjiro managed to behead the demon while being seriously injured and exhausted from the earlier fights. Thus, if Tanjiro became strong enough to win against Gyutaro, and Gyutaro is stronger than Tengen and Shinobu, we can assume that Tanjiro would be able to defeat Shinobu, although the battle could go either way. Tengen is one of the strongest Demon Slayers in the entire series. He is strong enough to go toe-to-toe against powerful enemies like the Upper Moons of the 12 Kizuki. Tengen is much more powerful than people give him credit for. He fought the entire fight against Gyutaro while being poisoned. Therefore, he was much weaker and slower than he would usually be. Had he gone head-to-head against Gyutaro in his full strength, we believe that he would win. This was shown after he lost an arm and stopped his heart from beating in order to halt the circulation of poison. After accomplishing this and finishing his musical score technique, he eventually matched with Gyutaro despite only using one arm. Although Tengen is extremely powerful, I still believe Tanjiro would win against him with his Demon Slayer mark awakened, although it would be incredibly difficult. This would be a very exciting battle, as both Slayers possess the Demon Slayer marks. Mitsuri is a pillar with much more training and combat experience than Tanjiro. In terms of physical strength, she is also leagues ahead of him. Since Tanjiro's opponent also now has a mark, I don't think he would stand a chance in a battle. Mitsuri would win with mid-difficulty. Tanjiro definitely has no chance of winning this duel, but he still has room to grow. Anyone who gains access to the transparent world unlocks an unprecedented amount of strength. This ability was acquired by only a few warriors in the entire series. Also, anyone with this power can easily stand his ground against the Upper Moons, and even defeat some of them without much trouble. With access to this godly ability, Tanjiro would easily defeat Mitsuri. The best Mitsuri would be able to do is to try to defend herself the whole time. She would eventually run out of strength, and Tanjiro would easily finish her. Rengoku is no doubt one of the strongest Demon Slayers in the entire series. This was evidenced by his fight against Akaza, the Upper Moon 3. Rengoku is also incredibly fast. He is capable of running faster than the eyes can process, and even faster than most of the demons. Despite all this, as we witnessed in the series, Rengoku was defeated by Akaza. Akaza is an extremely strong demon with some of the most powerful abilities in the series. In the case that he is beheaded, he is also capable of regenerating his head through sheer willpower. These two are easy to compare, as Tanjiro also battled Akaza later in the series. Same as Rengoku, Tanjiro also struggled a great deal against Akaza, but once he unlocked the Transparent World, he was able to easily defeat him. Since Tanjiro is stronger than Akaza, and Akaza defeated Rengoku, we can conclude that Tanjiro should be leagues ahead of his idol. The Serpent Pillar, Obanai, possesses the serpent breathing techniques and is one of the fan-favorite Hashira. Obanai is also incredibly strong, capable of fighting Upper Moon 4 Nakime and even standing his ground against a weakened Muzan for some time. However, given the fact that Transparent World Tanjiro managed to defeat Akaza, a feat that Obanai definitely couldn't achieve on his own, I think we can all agree that Tanjiro would defeat Obanai in this form. Muichiro is an incredibly strong demon slayer and a child prodigy. Out of all the Hashiras, he has the most potential. He is the only person known to become a Hashira after training for only 2 months. This is more than a testament to his overwhelming strength. Muichiro also managed to awaken the Transparent World as well, which would put him on the same level as Tanjiro. Given all these facts, and the fact that Muichiro is also a descendant of Kokushibo, it's safe to say that Muichiro would manage to defeat the Transparent World Tanjiro. Sun God Tanjiro is essentially capable of performing the sun breathing, the most powerful breathing technique in the entire series. This form makes him similar to its original wielder, Yoriichi. Yoriichi's strength is unfathomable. He was capable of beating Demon King Muzan, the most powerful demon ever, to a pulp, literally. Although Tanjiro is still far inferior to Yoriichi, he is definitely a force to be reckoned with, and even Muzan acknowledges him for being strong. With this in view, it is safe to say that Tanjiro would win this round. There's just no way Muichiro can counter the pure sun breathing. Giyu is one of the most powerful Hashira in the anime, and is a wielder of the water-breathing techniques. He is also one of the Demon Slayers who awakened the Demon Slayer mark, and was strong enough to hold his own against Akaza for an extended period of time. Tanjiro, on the other hand, was noted by Muzan to be incredibly close to Yoriichi in this state. Muzan even considered Tanjiro a serious threat, and tried to do everything in his power to eliminate him. If the King of Pop, Muzan Jackson, felt this way about Tanjiro, this means that he is definitely incredibly strong. There's just no way Giyu would make Muzan feel that way. Thus, the victory this round is Tanjiro's for the taking. Sorry, Giyu. Before we compare Tanjiro to the strongest Hashira, Gyome, let's first see how he would fare against the Wind Pillar, Sanemi. Sun breathing is no doubt one of the strongest techniques against demons. However, against humans, it's not really that clear. It is important to note that Sanemi is the second strongest Hashira, and a wind breathing user. Wind breathing is an incredibly offensive breathing technique that is best suited for 1v1 battles. This is complete speculation, but given the fact that Sanemi is much more experienced than Tanjiro, and also has one of the most powerful breathing techniques, we think that he would be able to defeat him in an all-out 1v1 battle. Tanjiro in the Demon King form is essentially the strongest being in the entire Demon Slayer universe. He attained this form when Muzan transferred all his powers to him. This form is basically a combination of Tanjiro's forms and abilities with Muzan's forms and abilities. He has both water breathing and sun breathing abilities, as well as the Demon Slayer mark. He has no weakness in the state, as he is resistant to both sunlight and beheading. He basically cannot be killed, and is truly immortal. More so, in this form, Tanjiro can shoot energy balls that cause an enormous amount of destruction. There's just no way Sanemi can compete against this version of Tanjiro. he would be killed extremely quickly. The stone-breathing user, Gyomei, is currently the strongest Hashira in the entire organization. He is also the only Hashira who wields a mace instead of a blade. He is also one of the few Demon Slayers that awaken the powers of both the Demon Slayer Mark and the Transparent World. With Sanemi and Muichiro's help, he even managed to behead Kokoshiba, the strongest Upper Moon, and later even landed a few hits on the Demon Lord himself. However, despite all his insane strength, Gyomei is nowhere near Muzan's level. This alone proves that Demon King Tanjiro would easily defeat Gyomei anytime, any day. Click on this video, where we compare the